Yeah, good to be out here on a Tuesday, and I thought we did, a lot of good things today. There are certain areas that still, a lot of corrections, but the guys came back with the right mindset, and it's always tough losing a ball game, but when you really look at the scope of the entire game and certain things we did, there are a lot of things. I'm never happy losing a game, but there are a lot of things that I'm excited about with this group, going forward. So, but it's just a matter of continuing to work and find a way to be better next week.
Is there any common denominator about the lack of consistency in the quarterbacks? They seemed to make some strides against late BYU in the last game before.
Yeah, there's certain things that come into play. Oregon was probably the most athletic defense we had played, so they're going to sometimes make plays that are just, there. And then also there was just, some things that, all quarterbacks sometimes run into, but younger quarterbacks or quarterbacks without as much experience, I hate to say it, the issue with it probably more than anything is that the mistakes weren't kind of simple mistakes. A couple of the mistakes became really devastating, when they score 2 defensive touchdowns, it's hard to overcome it, especially against a great team like Oregon and what they can do offensively. So, we put our defense in a tough spot there, and we can't do that. We understand that. We're going to make mistakes. They just turned into monster mistakes, and that's just, something that we got to clean up. But there were a lot of things we did that were really the formula for winning football. Running the ball for 6 yards a carry on a team that, doesn't give up the run. In terms of that, over 50% on third down. There were a number of things that jumped out at me. I think we only punted twice, and one of them was on that goofy possession where I think we started with a pretty low clock, in terms of that, it just got kind of goofy, how we started that possession with 2.5 minutes, and then we snapped it quick. And so there was a good rhythm. There was just big mistakes but that's why that stat is so, it's so telling. You can do a lot of things winning football, but you can then get beat by a couple scores when you don't take care of the football.
Do you pay attention to things like passer efficiency rating and numbers like that?
I don't pay attention to the numbers, but we definitely take into consideration how efficient our quarterback play is. But I won't look to a number to decide if he was efficient or not. It's the best way I can say it. But 100% we look to see how efficient is he. What is he? Is he doing the right things? Is he taking care of the football? Is he taking the right shots when they're there? Is he operating well in the red zone where there's tight windows? So yes, we pay attention to it, but not necessarily what the number says.
Do your numbers and the official numbers coincide sometimes?
Yeah, we don't really give them a number. We might give them a list of things from a grade standpoint, and Coach Tui does a great job with identifying his pluses and minuses and critical errors. So you get a feel for those efficiency. So yeah.
You talked about the run game. What in particular do you see from Pat Laird, and what, if anything, did he do differently?
More than anything, I think Pat took another step towards not thinking. More than anything. And when you really saw it, I think sometimes he was, as a veteran player sometimes, and a guy who's as smart as he is, sometimes you can overthink, and get to a point where you know exactly how it's going to be blocked, what it is, set up my blocks, this and that. When there's a time and a place for it at some point, just, patient for a second, but then just go. And that's what he did. He didn't think, and he ran downhill when he needed to run downhill. But then there were other runs where he was still patient and then hit it downhill. But I think that was as much as anything. Hit things hard, ran downhill, and, at the end of the day, very few, if any, negative plays out of him. And, over 5 yards a carry again that was a defense that was tough to run the ball against. That's just what they were. So I was really proud of the guys up front and the backs and how they handled it.
How much does having the 2 running quarterbacks kind of open things up for him as well?
Oh, huge. Anytime you have a quarterback that'll pull and disconnect and is a threat to pull, again, guys can't crash on the running back as much. That's why that's why in college football you see it everywhere. People are running forms of read because you're adding an 11th player to the run game. And it's tougher to defend. So it ends up opening up everything when it's all said and done.
How much week-to-week improvement are you seeing in Chase and Brandon just from being out there, getting game experience?
Oh, you definitely are. And even like in the middle of practice, you'll see improvement from where we were early in practice. A couple things I was like, ugh. And then by the end, okay, then they're operating again. So it's constant. So yeah, it's week to week, it's day to day. But there'll still be some dips. No quarterback I've ever had has just gone like this their entire career. You're going to have some dips, but you got to make sure the dips are little, you catch them, and then you're back back up on that. And that's what I think they're working hard to do is when they do have those dips or something that doesn't go right, they're back on, okay, what can we do to ascend back up again?
You're still comfortable with the quarterback situation?
Yeah, I am.
How do you do that during the game? Do you preset a couple of snaps, or do you completely like
feel? 100%. You know, and then in between a series, I'll think about what kind of what feels right the next series. And you know, I didn't, like I said, the BYU game, I didn't go into that game saying if at the end of the game we're in a 4-minute drill, then Brandon's going to carry it 3 times. I had no. You know, that wasn't a plan before the game. That was a feel in game, you know. So it's all feel.
Does it even matter against the opponent? In other words, could Brandon possibly start a game if you think it's best fitting?
We'll see. I mean, we always have a plan, you know, and we'll see how it goes. But there's definitely a level of certain opponents. You know, certain quarterbacks might present even more problem because of what they're doing. There's no question about that. But, you know, that's something. I think honestly, most of the time, though, it's less about the opponent and more about the feel of you know, what's going to give us the best chance to win, who's maybe got a little hotter hand. You know, we're watching through practice and seeing how guys are operating within the game plan, and that might, you know, regardless of who starts, that might then kind of determine kind of what we do in game, mid game, you know, and then the second half.
Arizona played a ton of freshmen last year. Do you see a year's development in their tape when you watch them now? I do. You know, you definitely do, and I think they're a team, and they'd probably be the first to say it. You know, and I've just watched the defensive side, but that has, I mean, just drastically gotten better every week. So that says a lot about how they're being coached, how they're being pushed. It says a lot about the young men in that program that, you know, if things didn't go perfect in a game early on, how are they playing now? How are they playing now? So I have a lot of respect for that. You know, when you turn on film and when you watch game 1 all the way to game 5 and you see an improvement and you see that, you know it means something to them, and you know they're being coached the right way, and you know, and they're talented. They just sometimes they're still, you know, they're still sometimes a little younger than other guys, and sometimes it takes that time, just gelling and playing together. So we know we're in for a tough challenge against those guys.
Does Cal have an offensive identity, and is that even important?
I don't know. What do you think?
I'm asking you.
I know. I'm asking you. I know. I've never been someone who's put a label on anything because my offense, I don't think it is. I mean, people want to call things an air raid or fun and gun. I don't know. I just never have, you know, and because the offenses that I've been a part of, you know, the 17 offense last year looked different than the 16 offense at Eastern. But even while I was at Eastern, the 16 offense looked a heck of a lot different than the 14 offense or 13 offense. I just think that you have in your system the right pieces to be able to put your talent, your players, in the best chance for success. And some years it might be more tight ends. Some years it might be an athletic quarterback who runs more. Some years it might be a quarterback who, you know, who spins it incredibly well. Some years it might be big receivers and you don't run as many maybe bubbles or certain things. And other times it's smaller. So yeah, you know, well, I mean, you see it. I mean, it's obviously multiple, and I definitely think, you know, you're seeing the athletic QB piece play, you know, into effect. But you're right. What we're doing this year definitely would look vastly different than many of our years at Eastern Washington, but we feel like we want to do the best we can of putting our players in the best chance for success. I think the easy way to coach sometimes is just to say, you know, this is my system, you got to fit it, and if they don't, well, we'll get them once you don't have time. Once you get here, these are our, you know, we're here, you know, so I've got you know, the guys that are here are the guys that I want to put in the best situation, not just try and hope they fit a system that we bring in.
See the numbers of number 7, Schooler. What stands out to you about when you see him?
Just plays hard, just comes downhill. Just you know, I thought he was really talented last year as a first-year player, so he's just getting better. I mean, he just doesn't have weaknesses, you know, and he plays with such a motor too. And I know that's expected. I get it. You know, we kind of talk about that. Hey, everyone should play hard. That's, you know, but there's certain guys that just take it to a whole nother level, and he's just around the football. And he's athletic. He can cover. He can tackle. He can rush the passer. He can drop into coverage. So he's got all the tools, you know. So it's a tough challenge for us.
How much changes for you guys when you go on the road and you expect some noise and things when you guys have the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it's I thought our guys didn't really flinch at BYU, and BYU was a good environment and a lot of crowds, so I don't worry too much about it. I really don't. I mean, we do the silent count stuff, and we don't necessarily automatically use it. We use it if we think we need it, and our guys have repped it a lot. So, yeah, I mean, sure, when you have to go silent count, there's certain levels of getting off the ball that are obviously harder because everyone has to key it, so it's a little different, but. It doesn't affect us much because so much of our offense isn't about a bunch of QB communication. It's different that way, the way we run it, so we're able to operate without really much sound.
Do you expect Dancy to be available this weekend, or is that to be determined?
We'll see. I have no idea. I really don't. So it's kind of day by day, and we'll see how it goes.
Can you talk a little bit about what Bunting brought to the offense, especially that second half, big catch?
Yeah, huge catch by Bunting, and would like to. I think we were close on a couple others where we were taking some red zone shots. And they played it well. We just missed on a couple of those. So he brings a ton to the offense, and it's not just in his catches. Cause I think he's only got 5 or so, but he's still a presence. Guys have to worry about him. He's a big target, so you might even at times maybe he opens up someone else because he's on the field. So he will continue to bring a lot to the offense, and I really just appreciate his work ethic. He's humble, and he's selfless, and he's hard on himself. So he cares. And he works hard to continue to get better. So enjoy coaching him, having him on our offense. All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Okay.